Good afternoon, everyone. It is your host, Bernita Howard, the founder of SWAT, Survivors with a Testimony, bringing awareness virtually from my table, Mr. Arthur's table, to your table. We're coming on tonight to talk about domestic violence and bullying. We are going to have an open discussion. And even though this month is sexual assault awareness, so many things lead to abuse. And tonight, you know, Arthur dealt with bullying, and so we're going to talk about that because those are some things that lead to abuse. And then with some research that I found. So just to tell you a little bit about who I am, if you don't know, by now, again, I am the founder of SWAT, which is Survivors with the Testimony. I'm an author, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a wife. But the best title that I hold is being a servant of the Most High. With all of that being said, I come on every other Tuesday night to bring you awareness on domestic violence, something that people do not want to talk about. So we're here tonight to bring you awareness, and so I'm gonna have Mr. Arthur to introduce himself to you, tell you a little bit about who he is and what he do, and about his brain.
Yeah, just how you doing, everybody? Thank you for allowing me on, Ms. Vanita. Glad to be on. My name is Arthur Mitchell. I'm an author, speaker, coach. I'm a special education advocate, and youth advocate, and author as well. And what I say, one of my biggest roles just be like I said, serve of God. I'm passionate about working with kids. My story is dynamic and it's very unique to the point to how I found my purpose and what God led me to work with kids and what He let me do for the kids. So I impact kids daily. I'm a coach and a mentor. Have my own mentorship program called the Underdog Mentality Program. And also, I'm a clothing line brand owner as well. I have a clothing line brand called I Am. And I Am is a clothing line brand to help kids as well as young adults with suffering disabilities, help them go from disappointment to thrive, to the disappointment to discouragement, from thriving to winning, getting a hope. And I have affirmations on my shirts as well. And I believe if we see it daily, we're going to internalize in our minds to give us a sense of hope and pride as we can go out on an everyday journey of success.
Awesome, thank you so much, Arthur. And we need more people out advocating, especially um, in the mental health field. And so tonight we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell our viewers what domestic violence is. I'm going to have you to tell our viewers what bullying is. But domestic violence is any form of abuse where there's power and control by an intimate partner. Abuse can be kicking, hitting, spitting, um, sh- um, shoving one another. Um, Abusers like to isolate you. They like to control you. So anywhere that you have lost power and control, and you have been assaulted by your intimate partner, that is a form of domestic violence. So, Arthur, we're going to have you to tell our viewers what bullying is.
Yes, man. Yes, man. So to me, bullying, the best way I can describe bullying is from my experience. I would say bullying is intimidation or ridicule. When I was growing up with my disability, people kept calling me names, saying I couldn't see, saying that why my eyes so close, or why I was so close to the phone, and different things to ridicule me and to intimidate who I was, to make me feel I was lower than anybody else. That's my mentorship program called the Underdog, because I feel like the underdog, because I've been talked about. People didn't really have any friend or support. So to me, bullying is basically intimidation, seeking to harm you, make you feel bad. And I dealt with that all my 10 years, middle school and young years life.
Mm. So, statistics show, I know people say, well, why are you guys talking about bullying? What does that have to do? Power and control is a form of bullying. It takes over who you are. As he said, intimidation. We go through that when you're dealing with domestic violence. Intimidation, isolation. It affects your emotional well-being. So there is something called emotional abuse. Um, and so when I was doing, preparing for the show, I looked up some things, and it says statistics show that violence in home leads to higher rates of childhood bullying. And according to Zamora, bullying can later lead to one being a batterer. Arthur, you were bullied, but you are out spreading awareness. What made you want to do something different, and not be a part of statistics? So, in other words, most people say, if that person was bullied in school, bullied at home, they become a batterer. They want to hurt other people because of what they've been through. What made you different? What made you want to be different?
And see, and you hit the nail right on the button. I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want to be. I don't want to be like nobody else. I was always brought up different, thought different, look different, act different. So my perspective of wanting to help others from being bullied, cover my experience. I know how it felt to be lack of support. I know how it felt be being the last one picked on in school, the last one picked on in different sports, different things. So I seeing that and growing up with that mentality, I want to change perspective of how others feel about bullying. Help them cope with their bullying and help them see a different mindset of what bullying really is, because I understand where it comes from. I don't know, days and nights I didn't understand why I know all this was happening to me. I questioned so many, had so many answers. I mean, so many questions of why I was getting bullied, or why I was different, or why I was, going through all this different stuff that made me be bullied on. So allowed me to take my pain and turn it into my purpose, to allow me now to help kids with bullying, be an advocate for bullying, understand what it means to be bullied, so I can help them understand how to overcome and not do different things. Because bullying can also lead to prison or pipeline mentality, where kids be so mentally stressed out with their drop out of school, then end up in gangs, and end up in prison. So I wanted to decrease that statistic to allow kids to have a better life, understand that it's better to what it is than bullying.
Okay. And so bullying, because I train and stuff on bullying. Bullying leaves a negative impact, in the community, not just in the schools, but we have to keep this hot 100. Sometimes children are bullied at home,
Mm-hmm.
meaning they don't have that family support, and so um, that parent is not showing them the love that they need. They are bullying them into, um, how can I say this? They're demanding them and bullying them to be something that they truly are not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that support that they need. And so when you was going through, the bullying can lead to depression, suicide, anxiety, emotional effects. And just like bullying leads to that, so does domestic violence. And when, the children see this in the home, they think it's okay. So, what do you say to someone who's in the school system that may be going through bullying and they think that, I just want to give up? What do you say to them?
I would definitely tell you don't give up. You come this far, and I tell anybody that, things may happen in your life, but you have a bigger effect on who you can become. You can control your outcome, you can control your future, you can control your presence, and if your mind matches your destiny, anything is possible. And in doing that, you got to know who you are. Part of my first curriculum, my program is accepting who you are. And once you accept who you are, then you're able to create the different strategy, understand the purpose, and find the effect of how now I've been bullied, but what can I do to to minimize what I've been bullied on and make a better impact on others, help them out. So I would tell them, don't give up. You've been picked out to be picked on. And we have a special unique gift, and that's why a lot of people understand bully that's talk, because we have a unique gift that they don't have. So understanding who you are, knowing that, okay, I'm here for a reason, and I have a great impact on how I can make things better in my life, and in school and out of school.
Right. So, before we continue to, talk about bullying and domestic violence, let's talk about something. Let's switch this conversation just a little bit.
All right.
Let's talk about healthy relationships, healthy boundaries. unhealthy boundaries. Just switch this up just a little bit. So, most of the time we talk about, the unhealthy things, of course, like bullying. We also talk about domestic violence. And so I'm a strong believer in sometimes you need to talk about, what defines unhealthy, what defines, a healthy relationship, healthy boundaries. And so I'm going to start. A lot of times I know when growing up, you know, um, a boy like you or whatever, he hit you, we was told, oh, he like you. But that's not always true. There are tendencies there that lets you know, hey, something is not right. We shouldn't train our children and especially our little girls. Oh, if he hit you, he like you. No, we shouldn't even train our males that way. So we have to train on healthy boundaries. And so if you like a person, verbalize it. You don't have to put your hands on it. And so with healthy boundaries, we should teach our young men and our young women to be vocal. You don't have to touch.
Yeah, that's true. That's it.
And so some of the things, one thing is a person that when we talk about healthy boundaries and healthy relationships, one thing that we know that is healthy is respect. RESPECT. You
Right.
respect me, I respect you. Respecting one another don't mean that I control you. It means that I have a great deal of respect for you. Meaning, I won't laugh at you if somebody's trying to put you down. Um, I won't try to shame you for anything. I have that respect for you. If I see something about you that's not right, I may pull you to the side and say, hey, you know, your pants is torn on the side. It might be showing too much. You might want to fix that. Or, you got a spot on your pants, you might want to take care of that. It's a way that you do things. You don't just put them down and be like, I know you seen that on your clothes. You so dumb to have that on. That stuff like that is a put down. So that's not healthy. So can you give us some feedback, Mr. Arthur?
And I would say too, definitely being having a relationship definitely come from boundaries. But I think for young kids, I think for people in general, I think it all comes from how you was taught and trained in your home.
Mm-hmm.
If you have respect in your home, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Like you said, verbally speaking and communicating well, you better take it to the outside world. But if you're in the household where everybody cussing, everybody joking, everybody playing, everybody doing this and that, you're gonna go out in the world and do the same thing. So understanding that a lot of times kids in general they say different stuff out of seeing what they see at home, social media, different things. So learning how to first get them in the home where okay, yes man, yes sir. Don't be a bully. Don't be nasty about it. Say tell them something wrong, pull them to the side. If something ain't right on their pants, pull them to the side. Don't try to embarrass them or ridicule them in front of people because what they said they say in school, treat others the way you want to be treated. So
Mm-hmm.
that goes a long way with in home and at home because you gotta understand. No, you don't want anybody joking on you, so why joke on them? But it all comes from respecting, being respected, and taught that. A lot of us wasn't taught that growing up because we was in a household where everybody cuss, everybody joke, everybody drink, everybody smoke. So growing up, if you don't learn the right ways for, we're gonna be the same way. So having a healthy relationship and healthy boundaries all comes from being taught from a toddler to an adult, learning that. And if you ain't taught that, you can learn. If you want to learn, you can learn on your own as well. But some people are what you call it, stagnant in their ways that they're gonna be that regardless. So it's a long respect and have a healthy boundary. You gotta first be healthy in your mind, how to have the relationship.
And if you're right, and if respect is present in your friendship or your relationship, that person will value your who you are. They'll value your beliefs, your opinions, um, and you know they will know how to compliment you. They know how to support you. You know, they won't overstep your boundaries. And when and I'm glad we're talking about bullying because and I brought up the put downs because when you're put downs, it's part of bullying. So what do you do if you're being bullied?
What do you do if you're being bullied? Basically, I would go. I'm gonna tell you my experience. What I do, I first the what's gonna go back. The proper way is actually to tell somebody to being bullied. Because if you hold it in, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get to the point you're gonna harm somebody, hurt somebody, just explode. So probably to tell somebody, seek help. You don't want to hold all that stuff in because being bottled up with anger and grief and bitterment, and then one person can tick you off, you can do some harm to anybody. It wouldn't matter the point. Because I felt that way. You know, I was that person though. I was bitter. I was angry. So anybody that hit me, I would explode. And it would turn to anger because I was tired of being bullied, tired of being talked about, tired of being respected. And I wouldn't go tell nobody. I would keep it all in, try to brush it off because people did again they didn't understand what I had. So I would just laugh at the haha, but inside I about it, it'll come out in different ways. So don't be like that. Always tell somebody, get help, seek help. Whether a principal, even if your parents don't understand you, tell your aunt, your grandma, somebody don't understand you and really seek help for you because you don't want to keep it in because bad things can happen, like you said, deaths, committing suicide, harming yourself, doing different things that because you didn't seek help. So always seek help first. I tell anybody seek help. But to a point where you can see help, find a therapist, but find something that's gonna cope with that because you don't want to spaz out or explode because you let all this stuff brought it in and didn't take care of it and cope with the way you're supposed to cope with it.
Right. And a bully is just like an abuser. They feed off your fear. Um, they thrive off you. And as long as they feel that you're fearful of them, they're gonna continue their attack. That's just like what we deal with in domestic violence. Um, the abusers, they find your low points. They bring you to your lowest. They do what they can to throw you off track and gain power and control. And that's what a bully do. They feed off your fear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I want to say to anybody out there that's going through being bullied by their partner, by someone in school, or whatever, like Mr. Arthur said, find someone to talk to. If it's a teacher, a counselor, somebody. It's okay. Don't worry about them labeling you as a tattletale. Don't worry about them labeling you as a snitch. Um, and if you are there and you see someone being bullied, speak up for them. You don't know what that person is going through, why they won't speak up. Speak up and just be that comfort that they need. Um and just know that eventually your words will be good words. You are going to give them something that they don't have. You're going to give them the support that they need. So that's really 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 important. um so one thing that you talked about, Mr. Arthur, was you said that you became angry. You was bitter um because of being bullied. And a lot of times, even in domestic violence, we find ourselves being bitter. We find ourselves like shutting down to the world because we're angry at ourselves because we felt like we allowed this to happen. Um, but in reality, we can't be responsible for somebody else's actions. And so when you was going through the bullying, did you have the support that you needed?
Oh, not at, not at all. Like I felt like I felt like fighting on my own the whole 30 some years I dealt with this disability being bullied because nobody really thought it was a big thing. My mom, dad didn't think it was a big thing because for one, we didn't understand what it was. So as far as me being bullied, I didn't know that I couldn't understand how to explain to people, man. But when I did, they didn't really support me in any kind of way. They didn't really, okay, they just blew it all like it was. So I had to fight on my own. I had to really just deal with it, and it was the wrong thing to do. Because dealing with it your own way can cause very harm to a lot of innocent people and yourself. So I was able to really just have to fight past it and really understand. Took a lot, I had a lot of questions, a lot of anger things, I was division things, and just so bad to the point I just want to harm anybody. I never harm myself. There's always people that ridicule me or bully me that I want to harm. But I have to really understand that it's not that's not the way, and really understand I had to do different, how to be different. So I'm gonna be different, act different things are gonna change my perspective.
Okay. So when I looked up some statistics. It said in North Carolina in 2017, 105 children, which is 4.6 children per 100,000, died from a form of violence. Homicide was 48.6%, and suicide was 41.9%, were leading causes of child violent death. Firearms was 41%, hanging, strangulation, or suffocation was 30.5%, and personal weapons was 16.2, were the most common methods of children's death. This is the latest data that I could find. And so when I look at that, with everything that we got going on, and when I think about bullying and I think about the effects that domestic violence have on children, when I think about the effects that bullying have on children, when I think about all of that, and for a child who has not even reached their purpose in life, they haven't, matured, they haven't even lived life, but yet they lost their life from a violent death. What can we do to educate? What can we do to get to our youth um, that violence is not okay? Every time you turn your TV on, you see violence. Even on the regular TV shows. Back in the days, we had cartoons that we could watch that had no,
Yeah, no
no
violence.
sexual scenes. They had no
Yeah.
violence in it. The violent stuff didn't come on to after 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they can just turn their TVs on, and they see
Netflix, YouTube.
everything. Yeah, and so there's nothing left, to grow to see. I remember growing up, I'd be like, man, I'd be glad when I get grown because I'm gonna be able to watch TV after 8 o'clock. Truth be
Mm-hmm.
told, I be in the bed most of the time, by 8. But um, the children are exposed to so much that they have access to stuff, like you said, YouTube, whatever. And so I want the children to know suicide is not the answer. You can reach out to us. You can reach out, to Mr. Arthur. Um, Let us find you help, because don't allow that to be your resort. Mr. Arthur, you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, and two, and definitely what I think. So too, I think a lot of times, back in the day when we were going on, our parents were in our tails, like, no, they were in our rooms, they were checking on our stuff right behind us. So I feel like that be the same thing going on now. A lot of parents, a lot of teachers, a lot of staff is not really on their kids like back in the day, to the point where they know what's going on in their mind. They know what's going on in their world. So they don't. If they don't ask, they don't tell. Sometimes you can see it on the face, but if you don't ask, you don't
Mm-hmm.
tell. Because a lot of our inner thoughts inside the head, so you don't know what's going on. So it's just simple. How you doing this? How you doing this, Jody? How how you doing today, Dan? Asking them how they doing, see what's going on, really get to the head so they can bring it out. Because a lot of kids are fearful to say anything to anybody about domestic violence, bullying, because they don't know their parents will suffer. But we need to know. We know, and we don't ask, they won't tell. Because they feel like if they don't tell, nobody cares. So I would say just definitely, man, being an advocate, being like call Miss Anita, call me or call somebody that's really concerned about you so we can get you help because there's help out here. But we don't know, we can tell. But also having the people that's around them, for not us to really be concerned, like no, like I know my kids. If something wrong, I know something wrong with them. You can tell by their actions, with their ways. So learn your kid, like knowing when they move different, talk different, act different. If something's wrong, and then you be concerned, like what's going on? Why you doing this? You know, learning them so you can know from their ways something is wrong. So knowing that and just being like in the space, you know, being in the environment, because you got to meet them where they are to know what's going on with them. So with that being said, definitely being a part of them surrounding, and so we can decrease these teenage suicides, middle school suicides, and all that stuff because of bullying. Then we find out it was something we could have resolved, but because we didn't answer being in life, it was too late.
Right. And even so I say all the time, abuse is abuse. I don't care, no matter what form of abuse it is. No one should have to suffer through any form of abuse. And bullying is emotional abuse. And so a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but emotional abuse can lead to so many different things. It, as we've stated several times, it can lead to one harming themselves, one harming someone else. You know, I'm sorry, it could just lead to so much. And so um, when when did you realize that you was being bullied and you no longer wanted to be bullied anymore? Like, how long, when did you realize? And when you was going through, what was the school systems talk about bullying then?
I really caught the most of my bullying in high school because now you with the age now we ask more questions. You got more jokes in you. You got more people around you. You don't want to get embarrassed. You embarrass somebody else. So really, in high school, I really got bullied the most, and it was like to the point because my vision was so bad. I became exposed like I wanted to be the best of what I want to do because of my vision. So people would see that and really treat me talking my glasses are too thick. The face close to the phone, different little things. And I got to a point where like, okay, there must be a reason behind this. I tell people all the time, something a lot of time when people bully you because they're either scared of themselves or jealous of who you are.
Hmm.
So knowing, having that mentality, then I realized that they just mad because they ain't me. They met each other. I can see that. In the thing that keep my mind on what's going on, so I'm able to cope with it and do different things. But just knowing that, you as a person, things happen, but understand, that who you are, you're uniquely and wonderfully made in God's eyes. And having that mindset and keep you going. Cause I know people today like I tell my daughter all the time, you're beautiful no matter what the stage. I tell her, cause daddy said so. So no, having that in your mindset, knowing that we're about to say you're ugly. You're like, no, my daddy said I'm beautiful. So training the kids young, giving that ability to understand that age who you are, you won't go through it. But a lot of times we didn't get that. No, I didn't get the support. My bullying wasn't even taught that much in my school. Really, I think we had was Surge, Sad. We had
Right.
those. We had those. I was in those, but it wasn't a big thing on bullying like that in my area. No, it really wasn't really talked about. Nobody really dealt with it big, so it wasn't a big thing in my school. So I really just dealt with it on my own ways and try to figure out how to get through it my own way. But it was hard because I didn't know how. So going through the stages of high school to 12th grade, took a toll on me to the point I almost didn't graduate because I was just trying to act out, and act out and be a part of everybody else, so to see much attention on me and what I was going through. So I act down, class clown, 3 years, 2 years in a row in your book. They're doing different things to fill that void, so it wouldn't be so much on me. But inside I was still hurting because I was still being bullied, talked about inside, but trying to fight it out and outside, smiling and doing crazy things to make people laugh to cope with what I'm going through.
Right. So, we're going to turn this table a little bit more. We've talked about the bullying, but we know bullying leads to domestic violence. As I said, according to some more, bullying can later lead to one being a battle. Well, for me, I've survived domestic violence. And that's why I'm doing what I do because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And as I stated before, domestic violence is a form of bullying. Um, that man or that woman takes power and control over you. They make you feel like it's love, but it's not. And domestic violence don't care. Domestic violence don't care your social status, your wealth, your health, your religion. It don't care about any of that. And so we do have people that's out there that's going through it. And they don't even see the power and control as being bullied, as being intimidated, as being isolated away from, their families and their friends. And so I want to say to that man or that woman or that child that's witnessing domestic violence in the home, it's not okay.
Okay.
If you notice that, a parent, and so I make this clear because a lot of times when we're advocating, um, people will say, well, that woman is safe. But in reality, it's important that the men and the women be safe. A woman can bully a man and a man can bully a woman. And so we want to make sure that, our viewers know that bullying is not okay. I do like what one of our viewers said. It's important that parents and caregivers help teach the youth that they care for how valuable and worthy they are. This can help build self esteem within the youth they care for, which will enable those youth to know their worth and be less likely to become a victim of domestic violence and or bullying. And that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
It's important, and it's important as parents that we know how to sit down and talk to our children. It's important that we know how to have a healthy relationship with our children. Um, it's important that we learn how to talk to our children and not at our children. Because if that's all they see, guess what? They're going to portray that as they get older.
Mm-hmm.
It's important, that we help our youth. Um, it takes a village. I know growing up, I used to hear my grandparents say all the time, it takes a village to raise the children, and it do. It takes all of us working together. That's why I do what I do, and it don't matter who has a show, because guess what? At the end of the day, we are trying to reach as many as we can to bring awareness on something that people don't want to talk about. What's embarrassing to them, but it's okay to talk about it because your story can help somebody else. And we want to cut down the statistics. I'm tired of turning on the TV seeing, a woman that's lost her life, a man that's lost their life, or a whole family lost their life due to domestic violence. I'm tired of that. You know, I want to be able to turn my TV on and just see the weather, not the killings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's important, and when power and control is in play, you just never know what a person's state of mind is. And so, um, again, like I said, domestic violence don't care. It don't care what you do. It don't care your job title, how much money you make. If you're with an abusive person, All that abuser care about is having that power and control over you. Um, so let's, as I was stating earlier, bullying leads to emotional abuse. Where your feelings are involved, and different things like that. So I do know, Mr. Author, you said that you are married, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so being that you have been bullied, as I said, Zamora say that those that are bullied normally turn into batterers. So we see that you're not a batterer. Um, so when you address your wife, and it's important, that we have healthy conversations. Like, what are things that you do where your kids see the positive conversations, the healthy boundaries between you and your wife, so that
Right.
they can portray them when they get older.
Basically, if we have like a disagreement or argument, we never try to put it do it in front of our kids. So we don't want them to see they said the negativity of what it is, but we do allow them to know that some things are not always be on the right, be agreeable, but we know how to work it out in front of them. So we want to show them that even if you do get an argument, disagreement, know how to work it out in a respectful manner, respectful way, without fussing or cussing, throwing things like that. So we try to portray that. We try to portray that example to them and give them a mindset of what it look like to be healthy, what it look like to be respectful, what it look like to treat your wife with respect, what it like to treat your husband with respect, what it look like to make sure y'all both taken care of, y'all love each other. We hug and kiss it from them. Let make sure show them how much we love each other. So
I know that's right.
giving them an example of how a healthy marriage is, show them as they get older. Like granted, they may grow up not even taking none of our examples, but we are gonna make sure the example we give them they may abide by and still use them as they get older in life.
Right. Awesome. So, my next thing is, so have either of your children dealt with bullying in school? Are your children in school?
Yes, so fifth grade, kindergarten, first grade.
Okay. So have either of them dealt with bullying?
We haven't dealt with bullying, but I found out early that my fifth grader she was dealing with some self esteem issues with just the way she looked. I didn't really know nothing about like that. Or her and my wife talked about it, but
Hmm.
it wasn't as form of being bullied because what it was is like like when kids joke. You know what I'm saying? She liked to joke too, but we didn't know that even though she was joking, she still was feeling those comments and stuff. And we had to sit down and talk to her, know that you're a beautiful one that we made. The wrong people think about you. And my wife would sit down and told her a story about her when she was going to different things. So at that point, I realized, okay, that get them now at the age now where she was able to freely come out and tell us because my wife knew, but I didn't really know anything about it until the other week. I'm like, okay, I didn't know, and we talked about it, and it came out. So having them, like I said, being in the kid's life and being active, that allowed things to come out. So we were able to talk to her and get things situated and straight to the point. Now she's good. She's had a little moment. She's getting everything well, but just having actually, able her to bring it out to us and allow us, to handle it at that age. Well, because she could have held it in and could have had a promiscuous spirit and just could have looking for stuff. So we was able to nip it in the bud now, so it wasn't getting no farther than what it did.
That's awesome. Um, so I know for me, with domestic violence, there is a healing process. And healing does not happen overnight. So I see that you're doing a lot of things, especially dealing, educating on bullying and different things like that. So how long did it take you before you started your healing process when you were able to say, okay, I was bullied. This is what I need. I need counseling. I need this help. How long did it take before you started all of that?
Oh man, I'm 39 now. It took me 3 years ago because what happened was a lot of times we think we're okay, but until you able until you get around people that are okay. You like, well, you like, oh, no, okay. So I got into this community a couple of years, about 3 4 years ago, and it was a personal development community. And had been in the community, I'm able to see different people, man, go through different situations, different things. Like, man, my life kind of screwed up. I thought I was good, but I'm not. So end up getting into the community, end up pulling up my purpose of who I was. Dealing with people with eye disease called my eye disease called keratoconus, dealing with people with keratoconus, dealing with being bullied, dealing with low vision impairment people, vision with kids with disabilities. So I'm able to first accept who I was, know that I have it, but then again, tell my parents my purpose, and do a work do the work for God, and help other people, man, advocate through their situations and cope through their strategies and different things, allow them to understand who they were. So I was able within the years really open up and really understand. Like, I went through this, but now what? No, what are you gonna do? What's your purpose? What am I passionate about? No, understanding who I was, I was able to take those and really create a plan around my what I want to do. And then again, like having people that push you and support you. When I got my community, I had a lot of support. I was telling everybody it's very important to get into a community that can support you and push you to your next. Having rich people around you that don't want to hurt you but care about you and want to push you is very important in my life, and it has helped me so much. So I would say anybody on this call, get yourself into a community, a group that's going to support you and push you to your next, and that's what allowed me to get where I'm at now.
So I'm glad, I'm glad to see you doing the work that you're doing. Um, I'm gonna tell you to keep striving, keep thriving, because it's important. For me, 5 years ago is when I started my healing process. I stayed quiet for over 21 years. Um, I done very well at hiding how I felt and just not talking about it. I would laugh, I would joke, but it was so much hurt behind a smile. Nobody really understood what I was going through, because I wasn't a talker. I didn't, and so for me to actually be hosting shows, actually talking, you know, um, it's all God. But for me, again, so 5 years ago, I started my healing process. I lost a son through domestic violence, and I lost me through domestic violence. Um, Even though it looked like I had it together, it looked like, my life was moving along. On the inside, I was hurt. I was tore completely apart. And I felt like my whole world was shattered. But when I was around people, I would pick those pieces up and say, okay, I don't need anybody to see this. I was ashamed, of what I've been through. I just I was just ashamed, and it was like, well, what could I have done different? Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe I shouldn't spoke how I feel. And so for a long time, I would do that. I was shut down. And then 5 years ago, I wanted something different. I was tired of being angry. I was tired of being bitter. I was tired of being mad. I was just tired of being tired. And having a relationship with Christ, and he began to deal with me about different things, and I'm like, you want me to go out and tell people my business? You want me to tell people that I got hit? You want people what? They gonna think I'm weak. Um, but in reality, I didn't realize how many people my story would actually, help. And so I began to tell my story and, get go out into the community and bring other people in so they can also, because then I learned that it wasn't just about me. It was about helping others as well to tell their stories to get the healing that they need. And so um I remember um once I began to tell my story, it was like a weight lifted. It was like I'm almost free. So I start telling my story and start empowering other people and just start pushing to the next level. And now I'm not ashamed to tell anybody. Yes, I've been through domestic violence, not in one relationship, but several relationships. I didn't get the help that I needed. And I'm not one of them that walked away broke. So, my story is different, and then to hear stories of women who walks away with nothing. Before we changed the name to SWAT, when we was under breaking the silence on domestic violence, we helped 8 families, a total of 24 people, um, you know, to escape, and start all over with nothing. And that's why it's important to spread awareness on domestic violence. That's why this is important to me. Um, and to allow people to know so many different things leads to abuse. And bullying is one of them. Bullying is another form of emotional abuse. Even though a person cannot be charged for emotional abuse, but this is where they need to understand. If you emotionally abuse someone and it leads to a death, then you can be charged. They have a wording for it, but it's important that you know what you're doing and that you know what you're saying. You can't hurt people. You can't you can't hurt people's feelings and think it's okay. Sometimes it's better to be quiet and don't say anything because you don't know how you're tearing that person apart. Um, so again, it's important that we start with our youth. Even if we don't get our youth, we get our men. If you educate the youth, they could take something with them. But if you educate that man, he should trickle it down to his family and educate and teach them. That's why it was important that in our organization, we're not just out to help the women, but we help women, men, and children. Because I'm a firm believer that if the head knows, he's going to trickle it down to the rest of his family. And if we can continue to educate our men, they continue to educate their families, they continue to look for warning signs, they continue to look for all of that. Guess what? It can help reduce, domestic violence. It can help reduce the bullying. As you stated before, if your child walked out happy and come back in looking stressed, what are you doing? Are you having a conversation? Hey, is everything okay? Is there anything that I can do? It's important as parents that we have these talks, that we watch out for the signs. Even if we're not a parent and we're working with the youth or working with young adults, and we notice something off about them, we should say, hey, is everything okay? Allow them to know, hey, we see the change. That's important because if it looked like I'm hiding it and I'm doing it well, guess what? When it get physical, I'm gonna feel like, hey, I can hide that too. I might come in today looking like Werewolf Bill, and then tomorrow looking like Dollar Diamond. Where I done got hit, and now I'm trying to cover it up. So sometimes, we have to ask those questions. You know, um, is everything okay? Compliment, our youth and compliment our children. You know, and especially as parents, they should hear those compliments from us first.
That's true. That's true. I would say too as well. I think I hit nail on the button when you said about husband and father in the household. I think the biggest thing in our black community today is having a mother and a father in the household because it's like being bullied and being domestic violence and being abuse comes from you not having both sides to tell you I support you, so you one sided and trying to fill the void from the other side and causes stress, anxiety, you being the bullier because you got to go into different things, and then you also being bullied in other ways because like this way you're gonna daddy, this way you're gonna mama. So had not having both parents in the household can cause a toll on the youth as well, as far as being bullied, different things, and it, like you said, it become very emotional because no, they can say that, but they be like I don't care, but inside you're like yeah, he got a father though, but I don't. No, he got a
Mhm.
brother, but I don't. So it puts a toll on who you are because it affects your mental because you're trying to fill that void or trying to feel that person trying to step up to be that mother or they try to step up to be that husband. They can't do it, so you become confused and then you just you just out doing whatever, and then it becomes a thing now because now, the mother could be had three other kids. She's trying to do what the daddy had three other kids. He's doing. The worker trying to do this. Not better reach everybody because you only have one side of the family. It becomes an emotional stress on your life, and then you don't know what to do. And then it results to gangs, promiscuous, jail, dropping out, and so much stuff. No, and then that becomes, and that turns, like you said, turns to domestic violence as well. Because then you're gonna be angry. You're gonna be in control, try to hit women. Women try to hit men, and so much stuff. So having a two-parent household, I think, is very important in getting growing up because you've been able. Now, granted, even two-parent household, they still have that. No, mothers hitting men and men hitting women, they still have that. So it's kind of hard both ways, but I do believe like having a healthy parent
Relationship.
relationship will make it a better on you to the point where you won't feel that way. I do that way, and seeing they said collectively your mom and dad getting along well, they find out what you're going on with you, how your grades is, how your school is, how you're looking, how compliments you make you better, make you better. But I do since it say majority of people, kids that deal with depression, anxiety, and bullying are single parent homes.
Mhm.
5.6% of single parent homes, and that's where domestic violence kick in the most because then you feel in a void where you don't know what to feel at, so you're doing whatever you want to do to make things better in your life.
Right. And that's so true. I know even in my household, we try to do as much as we could, for the girls, but just seeing it. And even when I thought that I was hiding it, I never knew how much they actually see, you know? And so I've witnessed one of my children go through, and the most hurtful thing for me was when she said, "Well, I seen you go through it." It was like almost like a kick in the face. And so I know for sure that's why I have to advocate. I have to let people know that I'm a victim no more. I push through this thing. I make sure that my children are good, my grandchildren are good. I make sure that other people in the community understand domestic violence is not just hitting, kicking, and spitting. Domestic violence is so much more. And we talk about the sexual assault, we talk about the spiritual abuse, we talk about the emotional abuse, the financial abuse, we talk about all of it. And it's important that the people be educated. So when they see the warning signs, when they see the different signs, they be like, a red flag come up, like, I don't know if this should be happening. Let me be cautious of this, and it has them watching, a lot more. So it's just important. And so I'll say to anyone that's out there, if you're going through, as we begin to wrap this up, if you're going through bullying, if you're going through domestic violence, if you're going through any form of abuse, there are people out there that can help. Our organization definitely helps. We're called SWAT, Survivors with the Testimony. All our information is scrolling below, but I want to leave you with some nuggets. So, if you're going through a domestic violence situation, um, your life is important. Know your worth. You don't have to be a victim no more. Be a survivor. with that being said, there's some things in your life that you will have to change. Um, and sometimes starting over is okay. If you can start over and have your life, that's more than okay. That's a blessing. Um, Also, if you're thinking about leaving, go ahead and pack you a overnight bag. In that overnight bag, make sure you have all your important documents, birth certificates for you and your children. If you're gonna take the animal, their records, you and your children's shot records, any medication, the name of the medication, write them down. The name, the dosage, and the time. The doctor that prescribed it to you. Write that information down. If you have your RX numbers, which is your prescription numbers, write that down. That's important because if you have to leave without your medication, as long as you have that, you can get medication. Also, um, find that one person that you can trust that's not gonna fold, that's gonna listen, that will help you if need be. You can contact our organization and start your safety plan to get you out of there. So, but I will say to you, you are a survivor. Do not feel that it's your fault because it's not your fault. It's definitely not your fault. So don't let anyone coerce you into anything. Don't feel isolated. None of that. Um, it is truly, it is truly um, a scary situation. At times, I wish that I could say, if you leave, you good. I can't make you that promise. I can tell you that sometimes leaving starts with the stalking, the cyber stalking. Now that we have the internet,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much out there. But what I will say to you is, join in on these topics, get educated, and know that it's people out there that can help. It's so much out there that's offered to you that um, it's so much that's offered to you, but you have to do some work too. If you don't do anything but reach out, if you don't want to talk to us on the phone, you can go to our website and we can chat with you. We can get you the help that you need. Also, I want to say to Arthur, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any words that you want to give to our viewers?
Yeah, I would tell y'all don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams, your goals, aspirations. And don't give up on your situation. There is help out there. Like Ms. Vanita said, definitely talk to her organization that will help you out. And there's resources everywhere. You don't have to be stuck in a place that you can't get out of. You don't have to be fearful of what may happen next. The most important thing is getting out and getting help so you can be better, have a better future for you and your family. I understand that. No, don't worry about the outcome of the situation. It's worry about what you can do now in that situation so you can have a better outcome in what you're going through and like continue to understand you're better. No, you're better. It's not your fault. You're better than who you are. You're better than what they say. You're better than what they're doing and continue to grind them. You can reach me too as well on my website at www.artmitch.com. We can find resources. My wife's a social worker, so we can find resources to help. So whatever you may be going through, just seek help. The most important, seek help. Don't keep holding it in. Don't keep bottling up your pain, your fear, because you don't want it to get too worse. You want you to get help now. So just continue, man, to be who you want to be, and don't let the way you feel affect the way you flow. And then doing that, don't let know that your present circumstances outweigh your future circumstances of who you can become and who and really you are.
Exactly. So guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you to all who have shared this video. Just if you want to know more about SWAT, our information is scrolling down at the bottom. It do take funds to do what we do. So if you would like to donate, of course, that information is on our website. And again, we thank you so much, Mr. Mitchell, for
Thank you.
joining in. Thank you to our viewers. If you have any additional questions, all you have to do is drop them. Art is gonna, once we get off, he's gonna drop his information. So if you guys want to follow him, go to his website. You can go there. You can get the information that you need. But again, don't allow anyone to bully you. Don't allow anyone to have power and control over you. Be a victim no more. Become a survivor. Domestic violence is not fair. Bullying is not fair. But you can overcome anything that was set out against you. So I want to say to you guys tonight, thank you guys so much. You guys be blessed and have an awesome night.